Let me take you back to the beginning, where it all started, the moment I first laid eyes on James. It was a warm, sunny day during my sophomore year in college. I was sitting in the campus library, buried in my textbooks, when a voice interrupted my concentration. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" A charming voice asked. I looked up to see a handsome guy with warm brown eyes and a friendly smile standing next to me. "Oh no, it's not taken," I replied, slightly blushing at the unexpected attention. He sat down beside me, extending his hand. "I'm James, by the way." "Chloe," I said, shaking his hand. "Nice to meet you, James." From that moment on, we became inseparable. We spent countless hours in the library together, but it wasn't just about studying. We talked about everything, our dreams, fears, and aspirations. There was an instant connection, a sense of comfort and familiarity that made it feel like we had known each other for years. As we spent more time together, we discovered shared interests and hobbies. We both loved hiking, trying out new restaurants, and watching our favorite TV shows. But it was more than just shared activities. It was the way we laughed together and understood each other's quirks that made our bond grow stronger. One evening, as the sun set over the campus, James and I were walking hand in hand through the quad. He turned to me with a serious expression, and I thought, for a moment, that something was wrong. "Chloe," he said softly, "I have to tell you something." My heart skipped a beat, fearing the worst. He smiled warmly, reassuringly. "I think I'm falling for you, Chloe. I can't imagine my life without you." A wave of relief washed over me as I smiled back. "I feel the same way, James." And that's how our love story began. We continued to build our relationship, cherishing each moment and supporting each other through the ups and downs of college life. Our love only grew stronger as we navigated through challenges, learning more about ourselves and each other with every passing day. One evening, after a delightful dinner at a cozy restaurant, James took me to a spot on campus where the stars shone brightly. He got down on one knee, holding a small box in his hand. "Chloe, will you marry me?" he asked, his eyes filled with love and hope. Tears of happiness welled up in my eyes as I nodded vigorously. "Yes, James, 1,000 times, yes." As he slipped the ring on my finger, the stars seemed to shine even brighter, and the world felt like a magical place. Our wedding day couldn't come soon enough, and as we began planning, I knew in my heart that this love story would be the one for the ages. The months leading up to our wedding were a whirlwind of excitement and anticipation. We poured our hearts into every detail, determined to make it the most special day of our lives. With the support of our families and friends, we crafted a celebration that reflected our love and personalities. As the sun rose on that beautiful morning, I couldn't help but feel a mix of nerves and joy. My bridesmaids, including my sister Emma, surrounded me, helping me get ready. I slipped into my stunning wedding gown, and as I looked at myself in the mirror, I couldn't believe how lucky I was to be marrying James. "Chloe, you look absolutely breathtaking," Emma exclaimed, her eyes brimming with tears. "Thank you, Em. I'm so grateful to have you by my side today," I replied, holding back my own tears. Meanwhile, James was getting ready with his groomsmen. I could only imagine the smile on his face, knowing how much he cherished this day as well. The ceremony took place in a charming garden, adorned with flowers and twinkling fairy lights. The air was filled with anticipation and love. As I walked down the aisle, my heart swelled with happiness as I locked eyes with James, waiting for me at the altar. "You look beautiful," he mouthed, his eyes glistening with love. The ceremony was filled with heartfelt vows, laughter, and tears of joy. We exchanged rings, promising to love and support each other for eternity. And just like that, we were pronounced husband and wife, sealing our love with a kiss. As the sun set, the reception kicked off with lively music and heartfelt toasts. We danced together for the first time as husband and wife, feeling like we were floating on air. Our guests showered us with love and well wishes, and the room was filled with the warmth of friendship and family. During the evening, my dad gave a touching speech, his voice filled with pride. I've watched Chloe grow into an amazing woman, and today, I couldn't be happier to see her begin this new chapter with James. May your love continue to grow, and may you always find strength in each other. My heart swelled with love and gratitude for my dad's words. Then, James took the microphone, his eyes locked on mine. "Chloe, you are the love of my life, and today I feel like the luckiest man in the world. I promise to always cherish and support you through the good times and the bad. Let's make every day a celebration of our love," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I smiled at him. "I love you, James. You make me the happiest woman alive." The night continued with laughter, dancing, and unforgettable memories. We cut the cake, tossed the bouquet, and shared heartfelt moments with our loved ones. It truly was the perfect wedding, a day we would cherish for the rest of our lives. As the evening drew to a close, James and I stole a moment alone, standing under a canopy of stars. Hand in hand, we looked into each other's eyes, knowing that this was just the beginning of our love story. Together, we were ready to take on whatever life had in store for us, knowing that as long as we had each other, we could conquer anything. The initial months of our marriage were filled with blissful happiness. James and I reveled in our newfound roles as husband and wife, cherishing every moment together. But as time went on, a longing began to grow within James, the desire to start a family. One evening, as we sat on the couch together, James broached the topic hesitantly. I nodded, sensing the seriousness in his tone. Of course, James. I love you too, more than words can express. He took a deep breath, searching for the right words. I've been thinking a lot lately, and I really want to have children. I want to share this love we have with a little one, our own flesh and blood. My heart sank as I saw the longing in his eyes. I wanted nothing more than to give him the happiness he desired, but the truth weighed heavily on my shoulders. I want that too, James. More than anything, I said, my voice wavering. But we've been trying and I can't get pregnant. His face softened with understanding, and he gently took my hand in his. Chloe, it's okay. We'll figure it out together. We can see a doctor, explore our options. His words brought a glimmer of hope, but deep down, I couldn't help but feel like I was failing him. Each month that passed without a positive pregnancy test, the tension between us grew. We started visiting specialists, hoping for answers and solutions. But as the tests and treatments piled up, I felt myself becoming more and more disheartened. James was supportive, but the weight of his unfulfilled desire hung heavy in the air between us. One night, after yet another doctor's appointment, we found ourselves sitting in silence at the kitchen table. The atmosphere was heavy with unspoken thoughts and emotions. I'm sorry, James, I finally whispered, tears welling up in my eyes. I wish I could give you the family you want. He reached across the table and gently wiped away a tear from my cheek. Chloe, I love you. It's not about having children. It's about us, about our love. We'll get through this together, no matter what happens. His words brought a sense of comfort, but the pain of not being able to fulfill his desire gnawed at my heart. I felt like I was letting him down, like I couldn't give him the life he had dreamed of. As the days went by, our conversations often circled back to the topic of starting a family. The strain of unmet expectations started to affect our relationship. We found ourselves arguing more frequently, our frustrations and disappointments spilling over into our interactions. I confided in my sister Emma, seeking her counsel and understanding. She listened with empathy and offered her support, reminding me that I was not alone in this struggle. But the guilt and pain still gnawed at me, leaving me feeling lost and uncertain about our future. In the midst of it all, I clung to the love we had, hoping that it would be enough to see us through the storm. But little did I know that a surprise was waiting just around the corner, one that would change everything and bring a glimmer of hope back into our lives. As the strain in my marriage grew, I found myself seeking solace in the comforting presence of my sister, Emma. She had always been my rock, and I knew she would understand the pain I was going through. One evening, I decided to confide in her about the struggles James and I were facing. Sitting in her cozy living room, I took a deep breath and began to share my feelings. I don't know what to do. James really wants children, and I want that too, but I can't seem to get pregnant. It's tearing us apart, and I feel like I'm letting him down. Emma listened attentively, her expression full of empathy. Chloe, I can't imagine how difficult this must be for you both. But remember, you are not alone in this. James loves you for who you are, not just for the idea of having children. And you know I'll always be here for you, no matter what. Tears welled up in my eyes, grateful for her understanding and support. Thank you. Just don't want to disappoint him or ruin our marriage. She hugged me tightly. You won't ruin anything. You two have a strong foundation, and you'll get through this together. Sometimes life throws us unexpected challenges, but that doesn't define who you are as a couple. Her words offered a glimmer of hope, and I clung to that feeling. Over the following weeks, Emma became my confidant, someone I could lean on during the tough moments. She helped me see that I was not defined by my ability to conceive, but by the love and connection I shared with James. One evening, after a particularly emotional day, I went to Emma's house for a visit. I found her in the kitchen, baking cookies. The aroma filled the air, bringing a sense of comfort. Hey sis, come sit down, Emma said, wiping her hands on a kitchen towel. I smiled, taking a seat at the kitchen island. Thanks, Em. She handed me a warm cookie, and I took a bite, savoring the familiar taste. So how are you holding up? She asked gently. I sighed, leaning back against the chair. It's hard, Emma reached out and squeezed my hand. I know it's tough, but remember, your worth isn't tied to your ability to have children. You and James have a beautiful love story, and that's what truly matters." "I know," I said, tear welling up again, "but it still hurts." "I understand," Emma said softly. "Just know that I'm here for you, and we'll get through this together. And who knows, maybe there's a surprise waiting just around the corner." Her words struck a chord with me. Little did I know that those words would soon come to fruition in a way I could have never imagined. As I continued to lean on Emma for support, I held on to the hope that somehow our love story would find a way to overcome this challenge. As the weeks passed, James and I made a conscious effort to mend the cracks in our marriage. We attended counseling sessions together, learning to communicate openly and honestly about our feelings. It wasn't easy, but with each step forward, we felt our love growing stronger. One evening, after a heartfelt session with our therapist, we decided to take a walk in the park to enjoy the fresh air and have some time alone. The setting sun painted the sky with hues of pink and orange, casting a warm glow over everything around us. "I'm really glad we're doing this, Chloe," James said, taking my hand in his. "I want us to work through this together, no matter how long it takes." I smiled, feeling a surge of hope in my heart. "Me too, James. I love you, and I don't want anything to come between us." He pulled me into a tender embrace, and I rested my head against his chest. In that moment, I knew that as long as we faced our challenges together, we could overcome anything. As we continued our journey toward reconciliation, something incredible happened. One day, while I was going about my routine at home, I felt an old familiar pain in my stomach. It was different this time, though, more intense, yet oddly comforting. Could it be? I thought to myself. I decided to take a pregnancy test, trying not to get my hopes up too high. To my surprise and disbelief, the test showed a positive result. I was over the moon with joy and excitement. I couldn't wait to share the news with James. With trembling hands and a heart full of anticipation, I walked into the living room where he was sitting. "James," I said, my voice quivering with emotion, "I have something to tell you." He looked up, a hint of concern in his eyes. "What is it, Chloe? Is everything okay?" I smiled, tears of happiness brimming in my eyes. "Everything is more than okay. James, I'm pregnant." His eyes widened with astonishment, and then a radiant smile spread across his face. "Are you serious? Oh my goodness, Chloe! That's incredible news! I can't believe it!" He rushed over to me, engulfing me in a tight embrace. We laughed and cried tears of joy, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the miracle growing inside me. From that moment on, our lives were filled with a renewed sense of hope and happiness. We visited the ob-gyn regularly, making sure that our little one was growing healthily. As we sat in the doctor's office during one of the appointments, the ultrasound screen displayed our tiny bundle of joy. Tears filled my eyes as I looked at James, who was equally moved by the sight. "Isn't it amazing, James? We're going to be parents," I whispered, my heart swelling with love. He nodded, his voice filled with awe. "I can't wait to meet our little miracle." Together, we navigated the journey of pregnancy with excitement and anticipation. Every milestone, every little kick, brought us closer as a couple. One day, at 17 weeks pregnant, I was sitting at work when a sudden sharp pain hit my stomach. Concerned, I decided to leave and get checked out by the doctor. Little did I know that this day would bring an unexpected twist to our love story, one that would test us once again and reveal the strength of our bond. The sharp pain in my stomach had me worried, and I knew I couldn't ignore it. Determined to ensure everything was all right with our precious baby, I decided to take time off work and drive to the hospital. Arriving at the hospital, I went up to the receptionist, trying to maintain my composure. "Excuse me, I don't have an appointment today, but I'm having strange stomach pains, and I'd like to get checked out." The receptionist checked her computer screen and replied, "Actually, you do have an appointment scheduled for today. Please wait, and someone will call you soon." Surprised, I thought to myself, maybe I forgot about the appointment in the midst of everything else. I took a seat in the waiting area, anxiously hoping that the pain wasn't a cause for concern. As an hour passed without anyone calling me, my anxiety grew. I approached the receptionist again, trying to hide my worry. "Excuse me, it's been an hour. How much longer do I need to wait?" The receptionist looked apologetic. "I'm so sorry. We seem to have overlooked your appointment. Let me find out what's going on." She checked with the medical staff, and finally, someone came out to guide me to the doctor's office. The sign on the door read "Occupied," but I was assured that it would be my turn soon. Knocking on the door, I waited for a response. When it opened, I was taken aback to see a nurse standing there, looking surprised. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Yes, I'm Chloe," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "I had an appointment, and I've been waiting for over an hour." The nurse checked her clipboard and then glanced back at me, puzzled. "I'm sorry, but a patient with your name and description was already admitted, and the doctor is currently examining her in the next room." Confused and now worried, I stepped into the office and saw my husband sitting there, looking startled to see me. "What are you doing here?" James blurted out, his face turning pale. My heart sank, and my voice trembled as I replied, "I came for a checkup because of the pain, James. What are you doing here?" Before he could respond, Emma came out of the neighboring office, looking equally surprised. Our eyes met, and the realization struck me like a thunderbolt. Emma spoke first, her voice laced with guilt. "Chloe, My mind was racing, trying to comprehend what was happening. My husband and my sister, together, at the doctor's office. It all became clear in that moment, and my heart shattered into a million pieces. The doctor emerged from the office, also taken aback by the situation. "I'm sorry, I thought I just examined a patient with your name," he said, glancing between James and me. As the truth hit me like a tidal wave, I felt a surge of emotions: anger, betrayal, and heartache. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I held back the sob, threatening to escape. Emma tried to approach me, but I held up my hand to stop her. "No, don't even try. I can't believe both of you would do this to me." My husband stammered, "Chloe, it's not what you think. Let me explain." But I couldn't bear to hear any more lies. I turned and walked away, my mind and heart in turmoil. I knew there were no explanations or excuses that could mend what had been broken. At that moment, I decided that I would face this head on and confront them all. I would take back control of my life and stand up for myself. There was no room for betrayal in my love story, and I was determined to find the strength to move forward. Little did I know that my family's support and a powerful revelation awaited me, transforming the trajectory of my life once more. In the aftermath of the painful discovery at the doctor's office, I decided to confront James and Emma head on. I demanded the truth, the full story of their betrayal, and why they had betrayed me in the worst possible way. As we all sat in my living room, tension hung heavily in the air. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I felt a mix of anger, hurt, and sadness. "Tell me everything," I said, my voice steady but firm. James looked down, seemingly unable to meet my gaze. "Chloe, I'm so sorry. It started as a mistake, but then I couldn't stop seeing Emma. I never meant for things to get this far." Emma's face was etched with guilt and regret. "Chloe, I messed up, and I'm so sorry. I never intended for this to happen, but I couldn't control my feelings." My eyes welled with tears as I struggled to process the enormity of their betrayal. "You both lied to me, kept this secret from me while I trusted you both completely." James reached out, but I pulled away, not wanting his touch. "Don't touch me," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. He took a deep breath, searching for the right words. "Chloe, I know I messed up, but I still love you. Can we work through this?" I shook my head, tears streaming down my cheeks. "No, James. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and you both shattered that trust. I deserve better than this." Emma's voice cracked as she said, "Chloe, please forgive me. I never meant to hurt you." The pain in my heart was unbearable, but I knew I needed to be strong for myself. "Emma, you were the closest person to me, and you betrayed me in the worst possible way. I don't know if I can ever forgive you." As my family listened to the heartbreaking conversation, my father spoke up with a mix of anger and disappointment. "James, you have no right to ask for forgiveness. You both should have known better. Chloe trusted you both, and you took advantage of that trust." My mother, with tears in her eyes, placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "Chloe, we're here for you, no matter what you decide. Your happiness and well-being are the most important things." Feeling a sense of strength and determination, I stood up and faced them all. "I'm done with this. There's no going back from this betrayal. James, you'll pay child support for both me and Emma, and we'll be getting a divorce." James started to protest, but my father stepped in, his voice firm. "You've hurt our daughter deeply. She deserves better, and you will take responsibility for your actions." As I stood there, facing the consequences of their betrayal, I knew in my heart that this chapter of my life was closing. The pain was immense, but I had my family's love and support to lean on. With tears streaming down my face, I looked at my sister and said, "I never thought you would do this to me, Emma. You were my confidant, my rock. I don't know if I can ever trust you again." Emma was visibly devastated, but she nodded, understanding the gravity of her actions. "I'll do whatever it takes to earn back your trust, Chloe, but I understand if you need time." In that moment, I knew that my path forward would be challenging, but I was determined to rebuild my life with the love and support of my family. I had to find the strength to move past the pain, embrace my pregnancy, and focus on building a brighter future for myself and my child. As I looked at my family surrounding me, their unwavering love and support filled me with hope. With them by my side, I knew I could face whatever lay ahead and emerge stronger than ever before. The shocking revelation was a turning point, a painful chapter in my love story that I would rise above, determined to create a happier and more fulfilling future.